Modern medicine struggles to produce a universal cure for venom. Creating anti-venom is a highly expensive and dangerous process. It requires milking venomous snakes and using large animal antibodies. But the perfect solution might already exist in nature. It is hiding in the blood of an unexpected animal. An animal that is famous for being slow and clumsy. A creature that survives by simply pretending to be dead. The Virginia opossum looks entirely defenseless against predators. Yet it walks through snake-infested territory without any fear. This weak marsupial holds a secret that could change human history. An opossum is wandering blindly through the dark underbrush. It steps directly onto a highly venomous pit viper. The snake reacts instantly with a defensive strike. A large dose of venom is injected deep into the muscle. For almost any other mammal, this means cardiovascular collapse. The neurotoxins should immediately start breaking down the cellular tissue. But the opossum simply shakes it off and keeps walking. It shows no signs of tissue necrosis or respiratory failure. How can an animal with no armor survive a chemical weapon? The secret lies in a highly specific peptide circulating in its blood. Scientists call it lethal toxin-neutralizing factor. When venom enters the opossum's bloodstream, these peptides react immediately. They physically bind to the venom proteins on a molecular level. They wrap around the toxins and completely neutralize their effects. It is a perfect, natural, broad-spectrum antivenom. The opossum's body simply filters the neutralized complex out. Scientists have successfully synthesized this exact peptide in the laboratory. It works against multiple types of venomous snakes across the globe. A biological anomaly could become a cheap, universal cure. But the opossum is not the only animal with this superpower. Across the world in the African savanna, another creature faces venom. The honey badger actively hunts the most dangerous snakes alive. It routinely targets puff adders and highly toxic cobras. Unlike the opossum, the honey badger is aggressive and fast. But it does not have the exact same peptide in its blood. It uses a completely different biological strategy to survive venom. A cobra lands a direct bite on the badger's face. The venom is designed to attach to specific nerve receptors. Once attached, it blocks signals from the brain to the muscles. This causes rapid paralysis and eventually stops the lungs. But the venom molecules cannot find a place to attach. The honey badger possesses a genetic mutation in its nervous system. Its nerve receptors have physically changed shape over millions of years. The venom molecules simply slide off the nerve endings. It is like a key trying to open the wrong lock. The chemical weapon is completely useless because the target is missing. Interestingly, the mongoose developed the exact same genetic mutation independently. Two different animals arrived at the identical biological solution. But this genetic shield is not always 100% perfect. Sometimes, the honey badger takes too much venom at once. The badger has killed the cobra and started eating it. But it sustained multiple severe bites during the chaotic struggle. The immense volume of venom finally overcomes the receptor mutation. The badger suddenly stops eating and collapses in the dirt. It begins to foam at the mouth and stops moving completely. To any observer, the animal appears to be clinically dead. The snake has seemingly won from beyond the grave. But this is not a biological failure or a true death. It is a highly specialized, temporary shutdown sequence. The badger's body intentionally enters a deep, comatose state. By shutting down conscious movement, it dramatically lowers its metabolic rate. It isolates the pain and stops the nervous system from panicking. This buys the liver and kidneys vital time to process the toxins. The internal organs work furiously to metabolize the overwhelming chemical load. 2 hours later, a biological miracle occurs in the dust. The badger twitches, opens its eyes, and slowly stands up. It shakes its head, clearing the lingering effects of the neurotoxin. Then, it walks right back to the dead cobra. It resumes eating the snake exactly where it left off. The coma was just a forced reboot of the biological hard drive. These two distinct defense mechanisms reveal a fundamental truth about nature. Venom is an expensive and highly complex evolutionary investment. Snakes dedicate massive metabolic energy to produce these toxic cocktails. But evolution guarantees that every weapon will face a countermeasure. It is a continuous, invisible arms race happening on a molecular level. The snake upgrades its venom to kill faster and more efficiently. The prey upgrades its blood chemistry to neutralize the new threat. The opossum chose the path of chemical interception in the blood. It built a molecular sponge that absorbs the danger. The honey badger chose the path of structural modification. It simply removed the target that the venom was looking for. Both strategies achieve the exact same impossible result. They turn the world's most feared predators into ordinary meals. This process of convergent evolution happens across entirely different continents. Nature finds a working solution and repeats it where necessary. We often view wild animals simply as collections of teeth and claws. We judge their power by their speed or their physical size. We dismiss the slow opossum as a biological joke. We think playing dead is a sign of extreme weakness. We fail to look closely at the invisible battles inside them. The true frontier of wildlife science is not in the jungle. It is happening under microscopes, analyzing proteins and receptor shapes. The cures for our most complicated diseases might be walking around us. They are carried by animals we often consider pests or nuisances. A creature that eats trash might hold the key to universal antivenom. This completely changes how we should evaluate biological value. A species does not need to be physically dominant to be superior. It just needs to solve a specific chemical puzzle. Survival is not always about striking first or striking hardest. Sometimes, survival is about quietly absorbing the worst possible hit. It is about restructuring your foundation to make the weapon irrelevant. The snake spent millennia building a highly complex chemical weapon. The opossum survived by simply changing the locks on the door. The greatest defense is not a thicker skin. It is blood that refuses to break.